I was filming my 112 collection the other day for my Iron Man figures from Comicave, S.H.F. and Mafex, and I came across this guy again, and I just want to show you guys this figure again. Initially, I really hated this figure because how loose the joints are and all that, and the plastic itself is really cheap as well. But I gave it a second look, and I kind of like it now. I mean, still it is there's a lot of loose joints, but there is a little mod that I did. Not really a mod, but just gluing pieces, gluing one piece together, so it gives it a little, makes it a little bit better. So I'm gonna show you guys this Mafex figure again. Just gets more of an update. So here's the figure again, and yeah, the joints are loose, like the legs, they're like super loose. But the one thing that I did was glue this crotch piece back together. It's very easy to do, actually. First of all, you want to pop the legs off of this guy, and then, sorry about that, and then this piece could just slide right off. So initially, when you first got this piece, when you first got this figure, I believe the back section here is glued down, and then these two front section, they are free floating. They allow you, no, there's a hook, I believe, which hooks it together, and allows you to move it out of the place. So you could bend his leg a little further for a better range of motion. But I find this piece very annoying, the fact that it doesn't hook on properly. So what I did was I basically applied glue inside here, if this would focus, and yeah, it's kind of sloppy, but there's a little hook right there. There's a little L-shaped hook that's supposed to hook onto the crotch section, and it will let you close this back up, but it doesn't stay put. So I figured I'll just glue it together, and then so now it's completely glued down, so it doesn't move around anymore, which helps because it makes it a little less annoying when you're posing this guy, I guess. So we'll slot that back in, and then you could pop the legs back on. I mean, it's not that hard, actually. So you just pop these legs back on, but they are still super loose. And then the waist can extend out, so it gives you a better range, but it is, again, very loose. But once you have that, you can lower the legs down. You can still do a landing pose, a pretty impressive landing pose, actually. So you turn his head, so go like that. And then there's a butterfly joint. I really do like this butterfly joint though. So you could bend the arms a little bit further, so kind of get this landing pose going. And but instead you have to twist the torso section over to the, because normally you would just go down like that, but in this scenario, because this doesn't have a ball joint around the thigh area like S.H.F., you can't bend this leg over a little bit. So instead, you have to bend the abdominal section over to the side, so it's kind of lined up with the legs, kind of lined up with this leg. So it's a little more natural. It popped off. So if you get it to the right position, you could kind of get a pretty nice looking landing pose, which I'll show. Well, let me put this on the table and then show you guys. So there you go, look at that. I mean, it's not the most natural looking, but still a pretty nice landing pose right there, especially in this angle. Look at how nice that is. I mean, you can't look up all the way, but I think for the most part, I think he is very capable of achieving that pose right there, that landing pose. Look at that. From the side, it looks absolutely great. From this side, not so much, because it would look much nicer if this leg could push inward a little bit more, like rotate it to about there, so it's kind of parallel to the chest, but it's not. So from this side it's a little messed up. From the front, like this angle, he looks okay, and this great, and this just as nice. So yeah, I was very impressed how articulated this thing is, and the range of motion, it's quite high. But again, it is very flimsy, but it does come with a very nice Tony Stark head sculpt too. Look at that. I mean, for the most part, it is a very, very accurate looking Tony Stark face sculpt. And another thing I really like is the way they did the top of the hand guard, that piece. Instead of giving you just this little plastic piece on top to put over the hand, they give you a peg system that you could peg onto the arm, the forearm, and then also the hand will attach to that ball joint there. Kind of like what Hot Toys did back then when they first started the hand guard. So here, so what you have to do here is just push this in, and you click that in, and then once you did that, and there's the so push that hand back up, so there you have the repulsor blast hand right there. And as I mentioned earlier, he does have butterfly joints, so arms, they could extend out, and then there's a butterfly joint, and here the shoulder's a little tight, and that ball joint's a little tight, and so all you have to do is raise his arm, and look at how high up his arms could go. Look at that. Look at that, over. So that is quite high actually for 112 figure. I don't think any others could go like that, but this one could, so I'm very impressed with that. So yeah, just look at that, quite nice. Plastic, it is very plasticky. You could really hear it. When I tap it, it's very plasticky. It feels a little sturdier than what you call model kit type of plastic. It's a little bit sturdier, but it's definitely no SHF. It doesn't have that tightness to those figures. This one felt very loosey-goosey with all the joints, and if you mess with it a little longer, the legs will be even looser. And so far, I mean, I don't mess with it all the time, and I've just been keeping it in the box. Once in a while I take it out, and then I like to pose this guy because it is very articulated, but I guess the S.H.F is definitely better as far as range of motion, but this one's nice too. But again, it's very plasticky, but I still enjoy it. I mean, even though I already have a couple of Mark 43, I have the Mafex Mark 43, the Comicave Mark 43, and then S.H.F Mark 43. You know what? Let me do a comparison with all three of them. So as far as box is concerned, Mafex and S.H.F are pretty similar. I mean, they both are window box, but the Comicave one is absolutely gorgeous. It's definitely one of my favorite boxes that a 112 figure could come with. It is very sturdy. They definitely spend a lot of money. They actually spend some money on creating this box. So again, Mafex, just very generic box, and this figure was somewhere in the 90s, I think. And the S.H.F, this one came out a while back. I believe this was about 70, 80, somewhere around there. And then as for Comicave, this was I believe a little over 100, 110 or so, and I think it's totally worth it. So look at that, you got magnets over here on the side. And then when you open up, look at that. You got the figure, you have all the accessories, and then a little info right there. And just look at the thickness of this box. It's very well made. And it's got foil in the back right here, foil over here, foil on the logo, and then this here, the figure is texturized. It's raised, some section are raised, and then there's more foil right here. So they did spend money on creating this box here with the flap and everything. It's very, very impressive. Alright, so without saying anything, which do you think is the winner out of these three here? I'll give it a second and then I will tell you guys which is which. But from the looks of it, which do you prefer? So I'll zoom in a little bit. So we'll zoom back out. So let's see. Left one is the Mafex, the middle one is the Comicave, and the right one is the S.H.F. So personally, just by looking at it in person, because on camera it might be a little bit different, but in person, the one that looks the best just by standing is the Comicave one, because it is 75% metal, and you could definitely feel the weight to it, and also the finish. It's definitely more metallic looking than the rest of them. It does look like a miniature Hot Toys. This one looks pretty good. This one in person, it looks very plasticky, but I think they got the colors pretty nice too. They all look pretty similar. And then the Comicave one also has light up features. The eyes light up and the chest light up, so that's another plus. It is highly articulated, but can't do a lot of the poses that the S.H.F could do or the Mafex could do. Landing pose is not going to look natural at all with the Comicave, the one in the middle, but S.H.F is definitely the best. I'll show you guys what I mean. Okay, so with the S.H.F, the best thing that they did with this figure is gave the thighs a ball joint instead of swivel joint. I'll show you what I mean. So you can lower these legs down. I mean, that's not that, I mean, impressive anymore, because a lot of figures could do that. So, and look at this here, the legs is on a ball, the thigh section is on a ball joint. So if you want to give him the landing pose, you could totally squeeze that leg much closer to the chest than you can with other figures. So that is all because of that ball jointed thigh section right here. So if you rotate his head, and I really like the fact that the range of motion for the neck section is a lot higher, so he could look way high up too. So if you pull this arm out a little bit, this joint's a little stiff, so lower this arm, so he's kind of pounding the ground here. And if you lower this leg in, I mean, this leg doesn't need to be all the way out, but here you can see, you can tug that head a little further in. So here from the bottom up, you can see how much closer the thigh is to the chest. So it's almost parallel. So a human could bend this section a lot further inward, but for action figures, I think S.H.F did a fantastic job with it. So you can see how far in this is, and from the front it looks much more natural when he's doing a landing pose. So here it is, the S.H.F. You can see on the side it looks right. Over here it looks fine. I mean, it's a little awkward, but from the front it looks really good. Up here, look at that, perfect. And then tilt over a little bit, just as good. even better. Like for the most part, oh, even on top, look at that. From the top up, look at how nice that is. That landing pose is very, very natural. And that's because of that ball jointed thigh section. That helps tremendously for him to create that landing pose. So that's why I think S.H.F is definitely the best articulated figure out there on the market. And I guess that's why they could charge that high of a price, because I mean, if you want something really articulated to play with, to mess with, to take photos with, or even do stop motion, S.H.F is definitely by far the best. And then if you're just looking for something to stand or give you some pretty cool poses, you could go with the Comicave. Well, this one is not available anymore. It's on the secondary market. I guess you could still get it. But yeah, on the secondary market, I think it's a little over 150 or something. I'm not sure. But I don't think I would pay that much for it anymore. If it's retail 110, 120, yes, I will probably pay for that. But anything over that, I don't want to pay over retail, so I probably won't do that. So yeah, there you go. I didn't intend this video to be a comparison video of 3 Mark 43s, but somehow it turned into that. But well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess if you could find a second hand Mafex for $50-$60, I would get it. But you gotta make sure that you know what you're going into, because it is gonna have a lot of loose joints. If you're okay with that, you know when you're going in, then you're gonna enjoy it, because it is pretty highly articulated, and the head sculpt is nice, and the amount of hands and fire effects, I think you could have a lot of fun with that one too. And then Comicave standing alone again. Light up features, very nice. I do recommend this as well. I guess I would recommend all three. Depends on the price. I mean, this one, if you're trying to get one now, if you're looking to buy, if you ask me how much would I be willing to pay for this guy right now, I think maybe 100. That's about all I would go with that. This one 130, maybe 140 shipped. I probably would pay if I need to, because I do like the light up features and the nice paint job. And then this one 50-60, I would definitely go for it. So yeah, there you go. These are all three of the Mark 43 figures. Sorry, turned into a comparison video, but hopefully you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching.